Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the import and meaning of the historic event of yesterday, the conviction of Donald Trump. Not something I would normally do. Mainly try in general with the things I write and talk about just to explain. But this is a historic enough event, and it is generated in its immediate aftermath enough of a kind of swirl of somewhat conflicting commentary that I just wanted to weigh in on my own sense of things and how I'm processing it and how I think we should be processing it. So, big event, and everyone turns the TV on, and there's hours of punditry here and there, and I was participating in those hours. And there was just a very strong strain of, okay, so the conviction has happened, great, but now the battle begins, and the real issue is, one for the country and the and whether or not the broader polity will embrace what the result of the New York case. And I just fundamentally think that's wrong-headed. We have a political system and we have a criminal justice system. And more broadly, we have life and things that we, do and activities and friends and all this stuff, the life that Americans are hopefully free to lead, but then within it, all under an umbrella somewhere, but hopefully not intruding hour by hour and day to day, the legal system, which sets, basic rules of antisocial conduct that if you go over, you will be treated specially and judged and maybe incarcerated. And that's a kind of highfalutin way of saying that I don't think that the lesson of the fundamental achievement of the conviction depends on the vote on November 5th. Obviously, the vote on November 5th could be a fucking catastrophe, and it could end the American experiment as we know it. And for that matter, a meteor could crash down and inflame the Earth tomorrow. I'm not poo-pooing that risk, but I am judging the achievement as a separate and really important, vital, gratifying, and relieving imposition of the rule of law on Donald Trump in not an easy or preordained way. Indeed, he's going to continue to rail against it going forward and maybe even make it a centerpiece of his oddly martyr-ish campaign. And that's part of what my colleagues in punditry are saying when they're saying, now the real challenge begins. But, it's probably because I'm a lawyer and worked for many years for the Department of Justice, but I am really impressed, happy, misty-eyed a little bit about the result, and just think it's really worth marking in and of itself. The Republic held in a homely, dilapidated court in Manhattan. Evidence was brought forward, a really full of, a panoply of protections for defendants were applied to the max, no more and no less, to Donald Trump. 12 persons, peers and members of the community, received the evidence. Just the whole way it's supposed to work, it did. And of course, under the watchful and wise stewardship of Mirchan. But I think about this. Mirchan deserves credit. The jury deserves credit. The DA deserves credit. But it really is the legal system that brought Donald Trump to heel in this ultimate result. Though it would have been similar if there'd been a holdout, which would have been a shame in a way. But unanimity is part of the panoply of due process protections that he should have got, and he did get. And Mirchan, it wasn't his charisma and wisdom that brought Trump to heel. It was his robe, or what his robe represents. The, assertion of power, yes, but based on really fundamental principles of fairness and equal treatment that have been assailed, under hailstorm attack by Trump, and continue to be but have been for years, and continue to be. So, I just think the criminal justice system is something separate from a kind of an emergency, separate area of society and social life, but a necessary one that, if it's not functioning equally for privileged and non-privileged alike, we're just really, really hurting. And every day Trump came out and called the whole thing rigged and inflamed his supporters, and had, blew his whistle, and had the Speaker of the House and all these Republican leaders, important officials in the country, show up and say the whole thing's a sham and it's all rigged and it all comes from Biden. And that was always false, but pernicious. And, nevertheless, the center held as it was. I think my sense of gratification here has a lot to do with having been in the courtroom. Obviously what I'm saying is, in a word I used on TV, maybe getting going a little over the top, but there is a certain majesty to the completely punctilious application of the law and due process to the whole thing. But it was juxtaposed with, it occurred in this homely, dilapidated court where everybody's, if you were there, it would seem not at all exalted, not at all Louis XIV court. It was the down-to-earth justice system that is hopefully there at all times, but doesn't operate on people's lives unless it sort of has to. So this is a little bit, I know, elegiac, but I think an elegy is really justified here. This was a kind of a great day. We've been waiting for years with bated breath, wondering, some combination of browbeating and raw political power and blind luck. Trump has had break after break, have left it in actual doubt whether the system would be able to respond, even in part. And this is, completely acknowledging this case is in some ways the least serious. And wow, do we have miles to go before we sleep on the proposition that, the system has fully responded and worked. But, the seal has been broken, as it were, on the prospect, and the justice came through, and it came through, and it also worked like clockwork. So it didn't come through simply because Donald Trump is now an adjudged felon, no longer a defendant, presumed innocent until proven guilty. He has been proven guilty, but it worked, and I'm back now to my chair in the pews in the courtroom, because it just went by the book in a system designed to be disinterested in the identity of the defendant, and to apply serious justice and the threat of serious sanctions up to and including loss of liberty to all, and not just based on what they do, but also with really full process and a system, ultimately dependent on the judgment of peers. And that was a part of the trial too. Mir Chun, who was a very strong presence in court, treated the jury with a measure of reverence. They were the ultimate. He said, please don't think I have any opinion about the facts here. You guys are the bosses. And they were the bosses. And, if Donald Trump had his way, they wouldn't be the bosses, nor would Judge Mir Chun, who he continues to rail at as being completely rigged and somehow all in the pocket of not even the mayor of New York or whoever the government, but Joe Biden somehow. So wrongheaded, and the wrongheadedness of it got put to the test and shown to be wrongheaded. So it's not just the bottom line, but really that the process worked just as it was designed to work, while storms raged all around it, but inside in a straightforward, unperturbed way, not like, totally kind of battening down the hatches and we'll make this work, just in a very just, calm, methodical, obedient to the law. Everyone in that courtroom, including the judge, is obedient to the law, the rule of law. And that's no mean feat. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.